Well, moments ago, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz saying that he is responsible for any fraud that happens in his state at a news conference about Minnesota's paid family and medical leave program.
The buck stops with me on this, and that is absolutely true, but I want to be very clear on this too. If the buck stops with me on when there's problems, the buck stops with me on successes.
Walz is facing growing calls to resign over the scandal in his state, a day after he announced he was dropping his re-election campaign. Alexis McAdams is live. She's been watching all of this from Minnesota. She's in St. Paul with more. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, John. It's cold here in Minnesota, but the White House is trying to turn up the heat here on Governor Tim Walz as they're looking into lots of allegations of fraud across the state. Yesterday, Tim Walz said he was going to take questions. He ended up just kind of reading a statement about why he was not going to run for re-election. But it comes as Republicans in D.C., John, say they have worked on a subpoena and they want Walz to come testify about what he knew and when he knew it about the fraud.
I think by Governor Walz abruptly resigning or dropping out of the governor's race, I think that is an admission of guilt to the average American. He's going to be given due process. We do expect him to be in the House Oversight Committee. He will receive a subpoena. We've invited him to attend. We're following the normal process for issuing a subpoena, one which will win in court.
So Governor Walz dropped his re-election bid yesterday. Today he took some questions at a press conference that just wrapped up. He told the press that he should also get credit for the good things he's done in the state of Minnesota, not just the blame, but that's just not how it works sometimes in politics, right, John? So he's also calling himself the most transparent governor in Minnesota's history, saying he held more press conferences, rather, than anybody who had the job before him. The main thing he wanted to get across to the media was that President Trump is trying to weaponize these fraud cases, and then said he talked to his family about it, and they decided this wasn't for him right now. President Trump says Walz was caught, quote, red-handed for his role in the fraudulent Somali scams across Minnesota, and Walz is not the only Democrat politician that the feds are looking into.
This is a concerted effort to try and destroy the president's opponents, to destroy the rule of law, and it became apparent to me that he was going to do that with me being there, and I just feel, along with my family, that it's the best decision for Minnesota. I feel very confident in that. I think it's going to be clear that Minnesotans agree with that.
Okay, so Walz won't run for re-election, but is that enough? Some people are still calling here, critics, John, that he should just resign right now. Sources also telling Fox that Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is under scrutiny here in the state as a newly resurfaced leaked audio clip from back in 2021 had Ellison on tape vowing to support a group, including now convicted defendants in a Somali fraud case. So this really kind of runs deep here in Minnesota. The Justice Department signaling more indictments are coming. Almost 100 people have been charged with felony fraud-related crimes since 2022, and nearly every single one of those people is Somali. So that's why we talk about the Somali community. At least $9 billion in fraud and counting here in Minneapolis and Minnesota area. Back out here live, Tim Walz is still going to keep getting those questions here, and this investigation is far from over. So we'll have to see if he shows up there where you are, John, in D.C.
All right, $9 billion in fraud. We'll see if he can hang in.
I know.
All right, Alexis McAdams for us. Alexis, thank you. Sandra?
John Mark Johnson is Minnesota's Republican Senate Minority Leader and joins us now. Welcome to you, Minority Leader. What is your message following Tim Walz's words there? Where is this going next?
Yeah, so the governor, by saying he's not going to be running for a governor again in the next term, I mean, that does nothing. It changes nothing. He has not taken the accountability for what's going on within the agencies. If the buck really stops there, he needs to make sure he's taking the bold steps of taking those folks who are responsible within his agency, doing the firings, holding people accountable. But for 8 years now, we have not seen him hold one person accountable in Minnesota state government. He could have done this early on. He could have held people accountable early on, and we would have saved taxpayers billions of dollars in this state. So he really needs to take hold of this situation real quick.
It's a stunning downfall for a man who is pretty close to the national stage just not so long ago.
Yeah, he reminds you of Icarus, right? He flew a little too close to the sun there and exposed his big weaknesses. Minnesota has known that this stuff has been going on under the radar. Unfortunately, the media here in the state of Minnesota wouldn't report on that. It took a national spotlight to really bring these issues up. And all of a sudden we had federal cases prosecuting the fraud going on here. We've had the ability to get the message out, especially in the last month. And that has really clipped his wings and now exposed him for what he is.
Okay, love the Minnesota accent there, by the way. This is a bit from Governor Walz just a few moments ago when he was speaking. Listen.
This is a decision that I make and make with my family. And certainly I think, as I said, it's the right decision. I'll note, I think it's appropriate we're here today. The war that's being waged against Minnesota, you're seeing it. We have a ridiculous surge of apparently 2,000 people not coordinating with us that are for a show of the cameras.
It still seems like he's blaming others for his downfall. This is Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, calling him out as he's speaking about the probe there. Listen.
This is a man who can no longer even win the support of the voters within his home state because his policies have failed them. So this is all hands on deck, rest assured. It's a top priority for President Trump. And he believes that Governor Walz is criminally liable. And I think the Department of Justice is going to find out.
A final thought on that, Mr. Leader?
Yeah, so whether he's criminally liable or not, if he was a CEO of a private company, he would have been gone a long time ago. By him just saying, I'm not going to run for re-election, does not mean he's taking the responsibility for this issue right now. It's what we're going to see is he's going to step away, and we're going to have another Democrat move into this position. But unless we take the bold steps of getting new leadership, Republican leadership in this state that can take on the public sector unions, that can reformat what this bureaucracy is in Minnesota, what he has created is a system that's just ripe for fraud.
Final question on another happening in your state, and that is Hilton, a big brand in full PR, full damage control mode after ICE and DHS agents, this began yesterday, started releasing these screenshots allegedly showing that a Hampton Inn, Hilton owned in Lakeville, Minnesota, started canceling reservations for federal agents to stay at their hotels. This has now sparked calls for boycotts and beyond. The alleged email reads, after further investigation online, we found information about immigration work connected with your name and will be canceling your upcoming reservation. You should see a proper cancellation email in your inbox shortly from Hilton. Hilton gets word of this and said, oh, that's an independently owned hotel. We'll reach out to them. This doesn't stand for our brand. They posted this on X. The independent hotel owner had assured us that they had fixed this problem and published a message confirming this. A recent video clearly raises concerns that they're not meeting our standards and values. Where is this controversy in your state right now?
Well, this is a culture that the activists on the Democrat side have really tried to stir up. They tried to push through bills that would create a sanctuary state that doesn't allow Minnesota law enforcement and others to be working with our ICE agents, to be working on immigration law that this country has passed. And so it's a cultural activist approach to that is seeped into some of our private sector. And you see that there with the independent franchisee of the Hilton property. So hopefully this is something that as President Trump has that authentic leadership, he comes into the state, does the work that our Congress has passed the laws for him to enforce. We're going to see things change in this state. And I hope that with this governor, not running for re-election, hopefully stepping down at some point, we're going to see a cultural change in Minnesota that brings us back to common sense again.
A lot going on in that state for sure. I rode the elevator with our very own Minnesotan, Brian Bremberg, here in the building today, so I've gotten my dose. Thank you so much, Mr. Leader. Thank you for joining us. All right.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.